you know, his dropout as it's not held DarkZero in bad stead yet. Are they going through that honeymoon phase of picking up that new player? Absolutely. I think every team does it, but they've just got to ride it for as long as they can. And I think the fact that yesterday he was getting involved in multi-kills and a clutch to finish it out and to take it, stop it from going into an overtime, win the series, they're big moments for a rookie player. And he's getting them under his belt already in his first play day. So I can only imagine what we're going to get to see from that player today.
It is worth pointing out. I mean, it's good evidence potentially going in today that swap out will not be that problematic. It's also good, I think, you know, you get kind of his first map in the big leagues out of the way with, and now he's a bit more comfortable, a bit more calm, and also just actual game day reps with the roster out of the way with. Could be quite good, at least right now. Seems to be moving directly into a Pambazoo type role. I remember seeing Pamba on that striker. We'll see where Rival decides to play, though, just because the ops are by no means reflective of the positions the actual player might end up taking. But the lineup DarkZero has, the operators that immediately stand out, despite me highlighting striker first, will be that Dokkaebi and the Glaz. Could go for a lurk early on and then try to get the Glaz to cover a plant later, but this will be the first big engagement. There's Ollie, I feel like we always watch the attacker and the defenders. If somebody's playing in CCTV, always give a bit of a look towards each other and see if somebody can get that long angle and get a kill early.
It should be a lot more difficult to play in CC as well, given that Azami's been banned out. DZ, of course, knowing this, shouldn't have the biggest problem taking control of that ground. At the moment, it's not a primary focus. The fact that the Azami isn't there, it means that you don't need to start burning time straight away and getting in and start to get through those Kiva barricades. You can take your time about things a little bit more. And you're going to have to be careful because Spoit playing on that DMR tucked into CCTV is not going to be an easy player to try and disrupt. There's some very horrible pixels that he's going to be able to exploit there. And it's going to require a good bit of teamwork here. Most likely a bit of vertical play. There's the smoke. Unfortunately, Spoit, that's maybe just giving him a little bit more cover to play around.
It's not Spoit, but Surf to take that first pick. Look at how much investment is going into keeping Spoit alive right now. You always had Canadian on the opposite side going down, but Ambi's there too, playing around 90. Surf getting that opening pick at the armory door. They know that DarkZero are looking to clear Spoit, looking to pressure CCTV, and so they are meeting that attacking force head on. It worked out early, but it's starting to bite them late. Spirits with 2 big kills in the 90 and CCTV positions respectively. NGR and Rex in trade, and right now that puts Surf, the 1vx minister from stage 2, in a really tricky spot. He got one yesterday, a 1v1 staving off a 2v5. The other team almost managed to win. Spirits put down to 1 HP in the process. With Surf getting that first kill, Spirits low health. Starting to become more and more of a problem, but Rival, assuming he had a Z-ping there, just sprays him down through the wall, and I guess that's why they picked him up.
Check his PC.
Check his PC right now. Rookie, wall banging like that, 3rd map of the regional finals, I don't buy it.
I want the PC checked, I want the mouse checked. I'd like the mouse mat checked as well, just in case there's like some sort of train track system in there.
Keyboard as well, just to be safe.
Yeah, in-ears, headphones, glasses if they wear them. You name it, we need it x-rayed, examined. We'll send it to the lab. Great final kill there. Honestly, as soon as Citizen died, I was like, oh, Ben, what have you done? Like, all you had to do was just stay alive and wait for... I mean, it started when Spirits just walked through the laser gate, already on low HP, and I'm looking at the throwables that are left. We've got nades, we've got drones, we've got a multitude of things that we could just chuck through that, or he could have just walked around. And I'm thinking, brother, keep yourself healthy. I get it, you're trying to go for this sort of 3-way pinch. I love the vision, love the idea. It was that. Citizen dying, and then I'm just like, oh, not like this. Just let's not have round 1 go like this today. We need to maintain a certain level of siege, certain standard, until we start getting into troll territory. Fortunately, we're not there yet. We fell quite quickly into troll territory yesterday. We never really got out. Well, at least you and I didn't.
I actually, it's funny you say that. That segues perfectly what I was going to say, which is there was a Shopify Rebellion was in troll territory for a good portion of yesterday's series, and the reason why I say that is Oh boy, if opening picks were a guarantee at winning the round, they'd be in the upper bracket right now, but they're not. So that shows you not a guarantee you can close out those games. Shopify Rebellion were really, really good at not only starting out at a 5v4, but even starting out at a 5v4 with no trades from the side of SSG. And, well, while it was not good enough today, in that round, you have Surf getting a kill early on, completely uncontested. Long gap, and then the entire tidal wave of the attack just crashes into Shopify Rebellion, and they aren't really able to withstand it. Now, one round does not make a pattern, but it is a continuation of one that occurred yesterday, and it's something to keep in mind going forward. At Shopify Rebellion, so far throughout this regional finals, have an issue of starting out strong and having a very weak follow-up. There's another Spoit moving forward, and oh no, unfortunately, I think maybe hoping that tucked left wall was soft, but they'll pause a little bit. But in the process, it's still Shopify Rebellion keeping with the lead. Spoit on for 2 at the moment, facing a lot more success in CCTV than he had before.
I kind of like this from SR. It feels like they're putting a lot of pressure, and not necessarily pressure, but a lot of resource into Spoit. The problem is, the plan's starting to go down here. DZ have come out with a beautiful set-piece play, and there's only Spoit with a pulse on the side of Shopify. This is a post plan. Now it is 4 versus 2. Spoit is a little bit low, and NJR on the Ash has a lot of work to do right now. Spirits should be able to keep that diffuser safe, but he's only 1 shield. There's 4 defenders that can flood him at any single moment. And it looks like it's going to start now. NJR with a chance and a backstab there onto Rexen, and that's going to be the first.
That's the second. In just about 7 more seconds to go. Normally, these shields don't have a lot of impact in the late game, but if Spirits can just keep this defender at bay for 2 more seconds, that's all done. A 2v4 for DarkZero. Spirits 1 on the exit, and Surf is way too late for this one. DarkZero nabbed 2 in a row in a round where, I'm gonna be honest, I saw that plant go down and I was like, that's cool. Shopify Rebellion should still win it. But they didn't.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. That's a 4 versus 2, regardless of whether the plant was down or not.
We're in troll
Just trade the bodies. It's a numbers game at that point. Spoit picked up 3 kills, and it wasn't good enough. How much more has he got to do? It was a brilliant little set piece from DZ.
Loved it.
It was nearly stopped in its tracks, by the way. The placement of the breaching charge on that passport door, it's a dead giveaway. If you can place multiple things on there. You can do a exothermic charge, you can do a breaching charge if it's soft. And I think the assumption, or there was some sort of dodgy drone work, because it had been reinforced from the other side, it wasn't clear that it was reinforced. And they were like, oh, we can just get this done with a breaching charge. And the blitz pushes in, and it's like, oh, the wall's not soft yet. We need to... We need to do a little bit more. But fortunately, I had the backup there in the Ash, and we're still able to move through. And to be honest, it didn't really slow them down all that much. Spoit picking up 3 kills is a bit of a problem there, because if anybody had have done anything for Shopify, that round surely goes their way. There's no way they can win a 4 versus 1. The plant wouldn't even go down at that point. You kind of got to question both sides a little bit there. I think DZ maybe blindly executed their plan, and it's worked. But it was not far away from really not working.
That's another bit of a troll from Shopify Rebellion, unfortunately. Not making good on that 3K from Spoit. Now, to be fair, the one player they did lose was Ambi on that Solus, who is meant to spot anybody getting a plant down inside of the side. So they did lose some key utility in that 1 kill that they lost. But you don't want to go down 3-0 anyway, but you don't want to get another opening pick and fail to convert it 3 rounds in a row after that trend burning you round after round yesterday. Ooh, Nath getting blessed with some timing right there. Defender inside of the side just creeping back around the corner, but Canadian surviving in a very pivotal moment. Exothermic used this time, and Canadian getting distracted. While Nath does die, it will allow the Exothermic to not only destroy the Roar door, but also the wall on the opposite side. So Nath having actually a little bit of impact, even though he goes down in the process. Puts Canadian to 1 HP and distracts him long enough for that Exothermic to go off.
It's a nice way of forcing the Aurora pick that as well from Shopify. Open up that barricade. There's no way an attacker can replace a barricade there. So what do they pick? Pick Aurora. Stick Aurora door up on there, and you can still play the same game by placing that exothermic charge down and hoping to, well, not hoping, but you will open up that wall into customs as well downstairs. Nath falling though has left Canadian on pretty low HP. Spirits is now going to be following a very similar path. There's a Dokkaebi call ringing out, and he's looking to try and isolate a player, but finding himself in the middle of a few right now. Gets a brilliant opportunity there on Ambi. Hasn't been able to walk up those main stairs, by the way. That's criminal.
Just a big frag from Spirits. Ooh, and a trade. Another one this game. Feels like the early patch. But Citizen moving in, that's the kill that really matters. That's Canadian support up top, which means the tube are out. Even if he's not alone inside of the site, he's the main player trying to fight against this passport pressure right now. And on 1 HP, he is ripe for a pinch and an easy frag. Surf on the opposite side right now. This is 2 1v1s going DarkZero's way, but Surf slowly peeks the corner, gets Spirits, and can easily run away and retreat. Creep deeper into Workshop as Canadian holds down on the site. DarkZero starting to hit the stall. Losing time. No way DarkZero checked this angle. If somebody walks in front of it, surely it's a kill for Surf. And indeed it will be. Nice little pre-fire and Citizen who got that kill to give DarkZero the advantage. Recovers the diffuser, but minimal time left. Sound cue indicating to Canadian where this Aurora is. Dodging and weaving inside of the site, spotted by the PP. Shopify Rebellion playing this perfectly. There's no time to get these kills. And it's another clutch, but this time it's Shopify Rebellion who are the beneficiaries. An opening kill, grabbed, converted, and a round 1 on border.
I think Canadian's knuckles must be white after that round. He has been holding on to that area so hard throughout the entirety of the round. Wasn't for giving it up at all. And it was only right at the bitter end that he actually rotated out of the site into jail to pick up that final kill. Put a bit more pressure onto Citizen, force him to walk through the site, force him, more importantly, to expose himself to the BP so that Canadian's got a bit more further information and knows exactly where the swing and when the swing is going to happen. Good to see that SR have managed to get themselves around here. I was going to say that because they've got around, I wonder if they don't use the tack, but because of the way that rounds 1 and 2 went so badly, they've got to go back to, well, they don't have to. They could of course go to a different side. They could go to Workshop, but they're likely going to go back to this top floor, and that's what this timeout's going to be for. It's like, okay, yeah, you've won a round on the offsite, brilliant, great, but we need to get control of what's going on upstairs, because round 1, not quite good enough, and round 2, definitely winnable.
Even that round had its issues. I think just the amount of gaps in Shopify Rebellion's defense right now is a big problem. And that in the round we just saw, Spirits able to walk all the way up main. If you're defending customs like that, I mean, there are inevitably, going to be some gaps on the defense, but the hallway right next to both sites leading up to metal, you'd hope somebody is watching that, especially with Surf playing around the ventilation position at least later in the round. It still came down to a 2v3 victory. And so even in the round that we just saw, there's still definitely some problems for Shopify Rebellion to solve. So as we move back upstairs, as you very rightly pointed out, despite Surf getting that opening pick, DarkZero made a mincemeat of CCTV. Took control of that and pretty easily converted on the site with what I believe, if I recall, is a 4v2 advantage. Ban phase has gone through, by the way, and I do appreciate Shopify Rebellion taking out that Dokkaebi. Should hopefully at least reduce the possibility that DarkZero finds a gap somewhere in their defense. We did see Spirits play that Dokkaebi in round 1, so he'll move to a different one this time, and we've got the Amaru getting picked, and I think we all know what that means.
Well, it means that the Amaru's been picked, obviously.
Well, yeah, of course, that's what I meant. It's as simple as that. See, I ask easy questions. I ask easy questions.
A couple of changes that I'm seeing on the side of SR, it's mainly that Melusi and the Warden. Now, the Goyo was brought last time, and I think it was a Legion that Ambi was playing as well.
You're correct.
Well, the Melusi is just going to give a little bit more early warning system out there and force maybe a little bit more burn. I don't really feel like DZ are too worried about that. It's not like they've droned the Melusi and gone, haha, this is the lineup we're going to bring. They've not really got much to deal with them, at least at range. Heck of a lot of flashbangs, though. So that Warden should be seeing some goggle time during this round. That's for sure. I want to know where Spirits is going to go, though. As I always like to point out, just because we've seen the Amaru be picked doesn't mean that it's going to be used quickly. It just means that when it is used, a lot of things tend to quickly happen off the back of it, and that usually ends in a round win or loss for a certain team. Now maybe it's going to be the hatch underneath. He's actually primed and ready with it now in his hand. Now the util starts to go through. Burning those laser gates is going to be crucial. It is going to be an up the hatch job, and he's straight on into the side, but immediately dealt with by Surf. There's no Ying and only stuns to go by. What a shot from NJR. Wasn't able to keep himself safe. NJR might find another, but no, Ambi filling the gap. SR really holding on now.
Even though it's a 3v3, Shopify Rebellion have completely repelled the push from DarkZero. As Ollie pointed out, when that Amaru goes, that's the execute attempt. That's not like, oh, you know, a feint, a little fake out, unless it's like CEO on consulate. But in that particular case, when you're going up through that hatch, you're committing to the execute. So the fact they were able to get that 3v3 is good, but the onus is on DarkZero to work picks in the mid round, and the first one goes their way. Nath able to find one player on the east side. With 45 seconds left and still some drones, DarkZero don't have a lot of time to reset, but they definitely have time. Only issue is that diffuser is on the opposite side of the map right now, and there might be enough time to drone, but there is not enough to recover that diffuser. This round must be won on kills. Unless somebody really wants to chance it running to the opposite side. No, they will. I mean, there will be about 15 seconds remaining, but that's not going to be a lot of time to set up in your angles, to get all the right information. No time for your bases to get checked or rechecked. You've got to move in and get this diffuser down. Flashbang around the corner. No warden, so Ambi gets blind. Rival moving in through the office. Citizen finds him. It's another 1v3. The 1v2, can Rexon land it? Backing up another post-plant position. It's all on Nath to cover. With little time, he's got the right angle. Tagged up to one. Can Rexon land the next? Yes, he can. Through the wall! 2 clutches for Shopify today. But this one is a 1vx, and it is all on Rexon.
When Nath got that kill at just about the minute mark, it's the first kill he's out of the map. And I thought to myself, that could be the most important kill he gets this whole game. And it just doesn't matter. It's impactless. 3 versus 2. They had drones, they had time. There was about 45 seconds left on the clock when Nath gets that kill. And you start thinking, just tighten the net. Tighten the net and tighten the net. But no, they go for a full rotate. That was the kill there from Nath. Rexon did a really good job of pushing up there. Ambi obviously coming, he's full white and needs a little bit of support. Rexon coming in at the perfect time, knowing that Ambi's going to get swung. You can hear when that flashbang hits. It's not only that, but it's then knowing to dip back, play a little bit more time, wiggle on the door frame, wait a little bit. Plank goes down. Nath makes a pretty, I mean, he didn't have very many good moves to make. But standing just on the side of the bomb chassis, fast fire weapon like that, and that Rexon was always going to be seeing success there. And again, you throw in the fact that Rival was the one that was getting that diffuser down as well. Maybe roles should be reversed. Maybe it should be Nath getting the plan down and Rival, you know, covering. Nath can choose the plant spot a lot quicker, a lot faster. He's done it plenty more times than Rival will have done in these pressure games. Or maybe there's a little bit to be said for that as well. But as it stands, Shopify, their timeout has been good for a round, and they have leveled it up 2 rounds apiece, keeping much better pace here against DarkZero than what we saw yesterday.
Speaking of pace, looks like this might be another quick one. Shield and a glass positioned outside of Teller's window. A site that, maybe you disagree, Ollie, I feel like this site is the most, I suppose, susceptible to rushes on this map, or at least teams are the most eager to do a rush on this map. You know, the smoke go down, the Gone 6 go through, but I imagine this will be one Shopify are ready for because of how common it can be. And yup, look at that. Vulcan Pack's already on the window, Surf swings out. This rush is so common or so well known at this point that most teams will set up countermeasures for it even if it doesn't actually occur. Citizen will get a trade hopping on the opposite side of the map, and that's all well and good, but similar to last round, the actual intended attacking strategy for DarkZero fails. Spirits goes down on the Amaru before, he goes down on the Blitz this time. DarkZero disrespecting the setup from Shopify Rebellion, and it bites them.
They had 7 drones spent at the point where they went for that rush.
You could have droned it, nothing blocking it.
That's what I'm saying. They had 7 drones spent, and they have not found out that there's a Vulcan pack and someone looking directly at the window that they're going to hop through. I get that you might not want to overly drone it to give the game away, but guess what? It's bathroom tellers. Everyone knows you're going to try and play something quick. Just seems lazy. Because now we're just going to watch him stumble around the map for the next 2 minutes. Spoit finds one onto Rival, just holding a semi-aggressive angle. Guess what? Drops off, picks a drone up on the way, gets himself a little bit further back to site, gets himself a little bit safer. DZ are now going to chase a shadow for the next 20 seconds, not realizing that he's dropped. Do still have a player inside of office, but guess what? They've dropped as well. We're in that final minute. There's no need for the defenders to retake this, to hold this top floor. There is potential for them to retake. We can see that Spoit and Canadian are both sort of lingering around there. Surf and Rexon going to be manning the site. They're going to be the fail-safe measure. When you drop the diffuser in the middle of site in the first 15, 20 seconds of the round, really, what can you expect from it?
NGR is able to find one. It's a 3v3. And let's be fair, the 2 rounds Shopify Rebellion have won so far have all been close. A 2v3 in round 3 and then a 1v3 in round 4. This would be arguably the most ridiculous if DarkZero are able to win. This is the one Shopify Rebellion should win. Diffuser in sight, 6 seconds remaining. Vulcan pack detonated beneath the hatch. NGR with one. A quick trade, quick double by Rexon. Even though DarkZero gained a momentary advantage, Shopify convert the most dominant and the most gimme and free round that they have had so far. The other two have been difficult, but that one, DarkZero saw the success that their rush had in round 4 and were like, let's run it back. Didn't work.
You know what worked really well in round 4? Yeah, let's do it again.
What's it's funny because, like, did they win the round? Yes. Was it because of the rush? No. In round 4, I mean.
Yeah,
not round
no,
5.
I get you. Just some strange decision making from DZ. Really feels like they're trying to force it, and I don't think that they need to. I think they're better than that. I think they've got better strategic depth than to go for something that's, you know, every ranky stack tries it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the most groundbreaking thing. Like, yeah, when things are new, or when, you know, stuff just comes out, or things get changed and things start to become a little bit more viable and it becomes a little bit popular for a few weeks, yeah, throw it in. Well, that's been around for a long time now. And it's just opened the door back in Shopify's favor on a game that, if you base it off the first couple of rounds, DZ had, like, kind of slammed it short in those first 2 rounds.
Oh, yeah.
But it's nice to see that SR are fighting here today, and we've definitely got a more competitive game on our hands, or hopefully a more competitive series than that Space Station one that we watched yesterday, which is always a good thing, and especially considering the stakes that are on the table today for both of these 2 teams. Now, we enter round 6, the last round as the sides currently sit. We will then switch over and DZ will go into the defense and Shopify onto the attack. Lax made a really good point on the desk a little bit earlier on, talking about win percentages, should I say, for Border. And it should be known that SR's win rate on Border on the attacks is at around 40%. DZ's, it's around 60. So it's fair to say that DZ have underperformed so far in this first half, regardless of the result of this round.
Going off what you said earlier, I think they just underperformed in regards to the precedent they set at the beginning of this half. Felt like we were in for a wildly different game that we've ended up having through these first 6 rounds. No shield or Amaru here, so it will be a slower affair, and no operator that can immediately speed up the pace like before. It should be a bit more thorough of a clear from DarkZero. Running into some trouble with the intel game again. A lot of drone shot early. I don't reference the drone counter completely. It can lie to me sometimes. But it does seem like DarkZero is starting to move in after using a lot of their intel gathering devices. Another E1D goes out, doesn't find anything. Got information on the Ella playing around, excuse me, not the Ella, but I think it's the Solus playing around customs at the moment. Her and NJR will trade glances. Now DarkZero officially out of drones. A minute remaining, 0 intel gathering devices remaining, and Nath goes down. This might be a 4-2, and we still got a whole minute to go.
It's not looking great, is it, from an info point of view for DZ right now? These loose players on SR that you've got to be cautious of. Ambi downstairs, unchecked, unchallenged. Flick into his Helios sensor, can be very self-sufficient there. Rexon, really nice drop. Doesn't even break holding the angle to make that drop, just literally worms his way across the floor. DZ can now start to move through, but as you've mentioned, Lynx, it's 30 seconds left. You've got a little bit of vert. I wouldn't say that you have sufficient. A lot of this is stuff that SR have opened themselves. Spoit with one onto rival, a bit of vertical exchange right now as well. That's going to see NJR downed. Surf pays the price though. He's testing the C key and Citizen sees to it that it is his end. But I don't think it's going to change the end or the outcome on this round.
Ends up being a very anticlimactic half. I think based on the beginning, we all thought that DarkZero were going to have something a bit more competitive, but the rounds 3 and 4 are definitely action-packed. We got a 2v3 into a 1v3. Great stuff. Could also, let's be honest, could be easily a 4-2 for DarkZero just based off kind of the odds of those. But then 5 and 6, really a whimper from DarkZero to finish that off. And given that this is DarkZero's pick, if Shopify Rebellion get a win here, I just don't know if the DZ we're seeing right now has a much more complicated Lair game in them. It's been some of this coordination between the teams, between the players, that's the issue. Running out of those drones, struggling to position each other in relation to other players. Going back to, which round was it? Round 4, the armory attack. As you pointed out, failing to kind of just work their advantage around office and east side, instead betting it all on a plant. DarkZero are intensely focused on set plays right now, win or lose. And on their attack, it ended up losing and failing a lot more often than it worked. Going to a different side, obviously, will deal with different standards and different metrics of success. But their methodology ended up getting them a losing half to start out border, their map pick. And with these shields left up through the ban phase, they are opting to face Shopify Rebellion with some of Shopify Rebellion's most favorite tools in Canadian's possession. So we need to make sure this defense knows how to work around it, because Canadian knows where to put these cases, knows how to play this shield on this map, and the Rebellion are going to be a threat with these tools available.
Almost felt like he couldn't decide which one of his favorite toys he wanted to play with then, wasn't it? It was like, do I go with the Monty or do I go with the Blitz? Can't decide. Spoiled for choice. Surely we're going to see one of those taken out. The Glaz and the Deimos, I think it commands bans, but as again, it was spoken about on the desk. Shields are the secret sauce for this Shopify roster, and when they don't have them, you see them start to struggle. It is something that's worth bearing in mind. But then again, you've kind of got to go for the lesser of two evils, right? Something that's kind of strange, and any of you guys at home have ever listened to Lynx and I casting a border, you will have no doubt heard of us talking about NJR on those east stairs. Usually playing the smoke. This time it's the rookie of rival. Ooh, Spirits, look at that timing. Where's the info? He just led under the window.
Man. Of all the themes we could have today, is that really going to be it? Shields hopping into windows, not droning the actual window. You know, misdrones happen. They occur. But twice in one game? Albeit to two different teams? Really unfortunate. Great find for Spirits. Shout out to him. I'm fine with players making bets like that. It's good prep work as well. We lose the Blitz and the Finka. Rexon's to 1 HP, and all you get is the guy on east stairs? The Scopos? Which, by the way, normally do not see NGR play Scopos in that position, so that's a new iteration.
That's what I was kind of building up to.
Did something bigger happen that forced us to move on to a different point?
Yeah, players forgot they have drones again. Good info there being gathered by Spirits.
Huge info.
He may have got himself a couple of kills, but he is a man of infinite value here in round 7.
Don't need
SR have got no way of dealing with him. I've heard the spot that he's playing called Canadian at points as well, you know.
Oh my goodness. It's over. He's run outside. It's going to be one of those borders, it appears, around that pretty much ended about a minute and a half ago when Shopify Rebellion, taking a page out of DarkZero's book, decided to hop in a window with a shield. And albeit, let's also point out, bit of a common shield hop in, but definitely I would say less notorious than the Teller's window hop in. Then unfortunately, it did not get droned. Again, no mute, no Mozzie on the board. The only intel denial is Solus, and well, she only denies information by spotting your drone and then shooting it. Like I said, missed drones happen, but regional finals, especially after we just saw DarkZero get punished for it earlier, it is not the kind of thing we want to start seeing. So the first round goes DarkZero's way, and we can all give our flowers to Spirits with not only an opening kill, but 3 of them. Well, not 3 opening kills, but 1 opening kill and then 2 additional kills after that. Armory is a clean victory. We'll go down to Ventilation Workshop. We will still see Armory defended by at least maybe 2 to 3 defenders. And we'll see Shopify undoubtedly, by the way, still pick the shield. Not only will we likely not see them hop through a window like we did before, if they do, it'll be a bit more thorough, I'd hope.
You'd hope so, wouldn't it? It's been the order of the day for both these 2 teams on attack so far on this border map. It's been a lack of info. Is it a lack of info or is it extremely slippy defenders? I think the fact that it's happened to both teams, kind of got to chalk it down to a lack of information. Maybe just too many calculated risks where the calculation just doesn't quite pay out. Speaking of risks,
I like this.
Surf's position right now, straight into Archives. There's actually a deployable shield inside of Armory as well, and he's managed to get himself around that. There's a little bit of holes in the floor, but I feel like Citizen maybe has been caught lacking a little bit there. He thinks that someone's still on the door. He's got no idea of where Surf is.
It's very similar to what we saw SSG do a lot of yesterday, and I really like it. This is a good play by Surf. Pick up the tempo a little bit, catch them off guard, because Nave has that shield there for this exact thing to make sure nobody lurks in, but Shopify Rebellion do it so early and catch him so off guard. But look at Spirits. His heartbeat scanner is angled just a little bit out. Flashbang goes through. Spoit gets the first as Rex on the backside. There we go. Surf finds him. That angle paying dividends as Spirits doesn't anticipate it either. Surf gets ahead of the heartbeat scanner, and it's good for 2, potentially 3 as he throws a Twitch drone at Nape inside of Armory. Steve gets the kill. There's plenty of redundancy on that position. Shotgun goes through. NJR's just been robbed on that engagement. The bill finally comes due. He's good for 1, but loses a lot of HP in the process. He'll retreat down to the bottom floor, right into Ambi's clutches. Shopify Rebellion extend their lead once again. And the MVP must go, not to Surf, but the man who shot up in the barricade for him, Rexon.
Rexon's had a good game. Can we not give it to Surf?
We can give it to Surf. We can give it to Surf.
Okay, cool.
But Rexon shot up in the barricade, and I want that on the record. I want that on the record.
Rexon had a 1 versus 3 clutch back in round number 4, so I think, you know, we can give him, we can maybe give it to Surf, eh? Although, after seeing that engagement again, do we give it to Surf? Because he was really whiffing against Citizen. I mean, they were both whiffing. Like, Surf's got a bit of an excuse because he's on the DMR, but Citizen's on the P90. He should be dead.
He's also thrown a shock drone at Dave.
Yeah, that was just like a proper... That was a panic moment, wasn't it?
It happens.
Good positioning, though.
Great position.
Finally starting to see the attackers be a little bit slippy. I was commenting at the start of that round. I was like, oh, it's been slippy defenders all day, sort of. Now we're starting to see a little bit of slip coming in on the attack, and Border's a great map for it. Especially if someone's going to slingshot you in like that and open up the barricade. It allows you to get in. A barricade opening isn't unusual on Border. As attackers, that's kind of your job. You've got to open the barricades, create some phantom pressure. Give yourself options for later, open up lines of sight. If it gets shot away from a long way away, it's a different sound to if it gets shot open from right in front of it. You worry about it a little bit less. But then when someone slips in off the back, it can cause a lot of devastation. SR, only a couple of rounds away from wrapping up this map, and more importantly, DZ's map pick here.
And if that round's anything to go off of, it seems that there is genuinely a little more thought being placed in the mid round by Shopify Rebellion than DarkZero. If you go back and look at those attacks, the amount of set plays is crazy in rounds they won or lost. Whereas Shopify Rebellion they're taking opportunities a bit more as they come. They're not sticking to a pre-made plan. The only plan there is Surf gets in, and then whatever happens, happens. He plays off that position, plays off the information given. It's a smaller set play with a lot more discretion left to the player in the mid-round. That might be the difference maker here, because instead of DarkZero betting it all at the beginning of the round, Shopify Rebellion, if round 8 is anything to be believed, are trying to figure things out as they go. At the moment here, DarkZero giving them a very good setup to try and deal with. A lot of castle barricades. You got Spirits really sticking to this pulse, by the way. 3 rounds in a row he's been playing this. Spots one player outside, swings around. Love that aggression from Spirits. Downs Rexon, but gets a little too aggressive. Ambi ready for the counter swing. Canadian good for 1, too. They've quickly dealt with this CCTV position. And that paper tiger of Spirits has collapsed behind the circle desk. Rival left alone. You just got to feel bad for the rookie at this point. This round has been lost ages ago. Full CCTV control established by Shopify Rebellion with a minute to go and a 2v5. 6-3 is calling.
I'm really not sure about the scope post from NJR. It just seems like a bit of a strange lineup. DarkZero at the moment. It's not the lineup that's causing them the problems. I think Spirits is trying to play aggressively on these windows, and he's had mixed success with it. I think he's probably wants too much now, as SR have really started to dial into that. Canadian is going to prime a Candela here. C4 opportunity. I fear it has slipped you by, Citizen. Dropping now down into Workshop, can destroy the Scopos. Further remove a little bit of information, but with NJR finding 1 and time running a little bit low, the plant is borderline a necessity at this moment in time. If that C4 hits something, we could be in for a bit of a round.
Ooh, could be a bit of a round right here. Ambi coming in with the clutch. Massive flank as Citizen finds a little line on the Canadian with the diffuser. Might not have hit, but definitely gets a lot scarier until Ambi comes in with the SMG-12, 2 to finish things off, and now Shopify Rebellion up 3 rounds on their opponent's map pick. Keep in mind, this is an elimination game, not an elimination map, just the first of potentially 2 to 3. Whoever loses this series is out of the regional finals and will be eliminated from SI-26 off of points contention. Not out completely. Still some pretty large stakes in here, and both these teams, as Ollie mentioned earlier, would be a shock to not see Shopify Rebellion or DarkZero not at SI next year, and both of them want to make it through that first place spot. DarkZero will take a tactical timeout, try to realize it.
And it's a shock for different reasons, right? For DZ, it's more the org. It's been a flagship org inside of North America for a long time now. And then for SR, obviously a much newer organization to the scene, but the players and the people involved in it have been around forever. And for Canadian to miss one, it would be notable. There's not many people that haven't missed a 6 invitational. Is he going to take that tactical timeout now? Maybe a little bit too late. At that point, like, this could have come a couple of rounds ago when things really weren't working out. Feels like a last-ditch attempt to trying to salvage something right now because the momentum has definitely swung SR's favor. There's only so many times you can lay prone at a window and hope to get people as they run through. Unfortunate for Citizen there that he just couldn't find the angle either. You got the feeling that he had a couple of pixels, but needed a little bit more to be able to lang that kill shot. Ambi coming in with the buzzer beater to save Canadian. I was looking at the score. Canadian got a great kill in the previous round, and I was looking down and I was thinking, oh, Canadian's 4 and 6, Ambi's 4 and 6. Like, lacked his graphic at the start of the show. No, Canadian's not doing too bad. Like, he's keeping pace with Ambi. You know, it's obviously Ambi's not having the greatest game. It's mainly Rexon and Spoit and Surf. But I was just thinking, yeah, you know, he's doing his job. He's getting some kills. And then Ambi just pulls 2 kills out of nowhere, saves Canadian's life, and the round's won anyway. And that puts them onto map point. And it's like, yeah, that's the Ambi effect.
Well, I do want to build off that, though. I mean, it's a fairly even game, all things considered. I mean, you know, in terms of cost, Ambi Did get that round, but isn't, you know, doing the best overall. But he's about even with the rest, and you've got a clear 3 leading the way. It's sufficient so far. It's not one player pulling things over the line, and I don't think it's really been all that reliant on individual kills. It's been DarkZero on this attacking side who have been reliant on big plays, particularly from Spirits. You talked about prone beneath the window. DarkZero have only got 6 kills in the past 3 rounds, and 4 of them are from Spirits with a shotgun prone beneath a window. We're putting all our eggs in a very unusual basket right now. Moving back
I think
to
it's a
Army.
holy basket.
What?
There's some some egg-sized holes in the basket.
Oh, I thought you meant holy like religious. I was like, who blessed this basket?
Well, it's Sunday.
True. It's Tachanka's day. Canadian moving down the stairs. He's pushed NJR off his spot. Ollie's skeptical of the Scopos pick, and well, right now, first kill goes DarkZero's way, but not because of NJR. In fact, he ends up getting traded out in the process. But advantage maintained as DarkZero pull back just a little bit. Win 2 engagements gifted to them. Spoit and Ambi both taking some fights. While they die, as long as you get something for it, it's not the worst thing. But looking at the control Shopify Rebellion have right now, didn't gain a lot, losing that Dokkaebi and that ace.
You just lose the ability to push with Canadian as well now, because you've got people, you know, you've got people doing double duty. You've got too many jobs and not enough bodies. A little bit of drone work now. It's really only going to confirm what you already knew. Surf can go through and start to hack a couple of things with Brava. Give a little bit of information away. Snag a Banshee back their way. Interestingly, only the second time this game that DarkZero have got the opening pick in the round. There's not been one from fighting from in front, and oh, Citizen just gives himself up like that. Gets caught on the long angle. They're the kills that you need to be finding in these positions. It brings things back even now. That C4 could be a little bit of a problem. Vulcan canister going to get blown because they're worried about the push into archives as well. But, oh, Nate gives himself up. Surf's found 2 for free links.
Might just find another, but unfortunately doesn't go his way. Canadian, a big swing to land that trade. But the only gun remaining is on quite low HP. Rival with this DMR can make quick work of both remaining defenders. Rexon holding the cross is known by this Aruni. Rival hears the diffuser going down, but he doesn't swing until so late in the game. Finally, he gets it, but Canadian's got to get onto the shield. Got to fall back, and indeed he does. It'll be a long bait. Canadian will have to stay alive for a whole 30 more seconds just to keep the rookie Rival at bay. Pulling back deeper into office past the Banshee. It's stalled, hacked by the Brava. Creates a little more distance as Rival now falls back. Thinks he's just created enough time, goes for the barricade, should be able to get it down. Is there a hole in the floor? Can he see it? Canadian's got to crouch. Got to get the line of sight. Only 3 seconds remaining. Got to commit 1 more second. And he lands it. 7-3 for Shopify Rebellion. Canadian outlasts, outdances, and outduels Rival to take DarkZero's pick.
You got to feel sorry for Rival there. There's not many people that would win that engagement. Canadian has got an insane amount of experience on that Monty, and in a post plan, that's who I'd pick. I would be backing Canadian every single day of the week. It was a nice little play, a nice idea there to bring the barricade down and to try and create a little bit of distance, a little bit more space. Ultimately, Canadian was in full control for the entirety of that post plant, as Shopify Rebellion remained in great control for the vast majority of Border. It was a great start from DarkZero. They came out of the gate sprinting, but they very quickly ran out of gas. The opening pick, a massive problem as well, and you better hope that that doesn't continue as this series develops. We're gonna hit a short break. After that, the desk will be back to break it down.
available now.
The shotgun, there's some tricky puzzles, tricky positions you have to clear on Lair. And not only a sharp IGL, but a sharp team in general is going to do very well on this attacking side. And if they can still keep that problem solving they had on border, I don't think it's guaranteed that this map will go Shopify Rebellion's way, but these attacks could look quite nice. So I think look to these first 2 rounds to see if Shopify Rebellion are still keeping that edge that we saw in their border attacks.
And of course, maintaining the work rate on Lair is no good just being a good team at it 6 months ago. You know, you sometimes find that teams have a very high map preference and you maybe got a win on it a while ago and everyone's all of a sudden scared of it. I don't think that's the case necessarily with this map, but just because it's a top preference map and you know teams don't like to take you there, doesn't mean that you can't stop putting the work in, because there's still plenty of tape out there as to how they have played this map in the past, and it's about constantly adapting and iterating on that. Starting off on the attack, we're at least going to get to see the side that's excited me in the past from Shopify. Looking toward this lineup, I'm seeing the sense there. No Rora, and more interestingly, no shield. Blackbeard's been banned, but there's still a couple of shields left available. Speaking of, Nath is going to be playing the defender shield of Clash. Just trying to harass a little bit early there on that ops door. Maintain just a little bit of control. Brilliant pick from Spirits. Ambi thinking he's safe as houses there, trying to pressure Nath from below. It's forcing SR to use quite a lot of utility. The fact that they've lost the Deimos as well, that's a crucial operator for this map.
He can serve 2 different functions when attacking this site, either putting pressure through the vert down below, or getting a deathmark tracker on that player playing on top rocket and forcing through that position. So no matter what they wanted to do, you won't have either of those options available, and Canadian's in a difficult spot, because we saw that sends earlier, and typically when a sends is brought, it telegraphs the defense that they're going to be attacking from the op side. You throw the sends on the single door, you try to get a plant through that breach that you were looking at right there. But unfortunately, with Ambi going down, that'll be a lot more difficult. Rexon also a bit limited on breaching. 1 Selma charge remaining. No Zoda canisters or bandit batteries or anything that might trip them up. But Canadians just found a gap, found his way up the stairs. How have DarkZero let him in like this? They backed up, they have the advantage, maybe they can afford it. But a lot is now falling on denying this plant, and specifically these toxic canisters, this C4, and NGR holding behind the desk. The first domino falls as the Azami goes down. That utility's still there. Rival can, if he nails that arc, can deny the default defuse plant for a whole 20 more seconds. Citizen 2 maybe has to get a bit closer, but could also creep up behind that sends wall and try and throw it over top. The smoke spotted through a brief gap in that light screen. Citizen takes the initiative, but no C4 means it's just the smoke. And since it's a little late, Canadian finds the time, gets the diffuser down. But Shopify Rebellion in a disadvantage. Spoit also stuck between Citizen and the rest of the defense, which puts Rexon with the most difficult clutch of the series so far. He's been able to get a 1v3 earlier, but tucked around the corner and a clash in his way. DarkZero have the utility to deal with it. First round goes to the defense.
That's the DZ that we need to be seeing. Look at how fluid they were able to play there. Citizen not tied down to any one location, and he was here, there, and everywhere in the final 20 seconds of that round. Nath as well on the clash. Brilliant information gathering. Did a brilliant job of denying the early pressure and the push of attackers coming in through ops room. Forced SR to use a lot of utility to clear him out of there. Unsuccessfully, because all he did was spend utility and lose spirits. And then you get it in the later stages of the map where we've got Rival trying to throw his Toxic Babe canisters, scared of getting shot from the wall, from the door because there's the long angle there. NJR wasn't in position early enough on the Azami to set up the Keybers and really make himself a little fortress. So Rival's now struggling to deny and send his Toxic Babes out. What does Nath do? Just walks across the angle. He's playing Clash. He's got a shield. All he has to do is walk across the angle. Rival gets a bit more space to throw his Toxic Babe canisters, and Citizen can continue just running around backstabbing everybody.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds to insertion.
Honestly, that was problematic enough for Shopify Rebellion. I think even if it ends up being that one site, you at least have to consider the clash ban. Because as you're right, that piece of utility facilitated that whole retake, not just in applying pressure on the players actually covering the diffuser, but also providing a distraction for players like Citizen to backstab from behind. No clash in this round. You do have the Azami present, which can allow you to reposition and retake, like we saw the clash do. But a lot of those Kibas will likely get used a bit earlier on in the round. First floor defense, as you can see. Where will Shopify Rebellion decide to push in? Got Canadian on that shield, but with a deployable shield directly in their way, a sight hit seems unlikely. And given Shopify Rebellion's preference on border, they'd like to take things a little bit slower, and yet here we are. Barricade getting opened up. Candelas and nades flying around the corner. Not Candelas, excuse me, but just a nade puts Canadian to 1 HP. Rexon good for that trade in the process, but these Kibas will stall out their push as it's going to be a very minimal direct take from the Rebellion.
Spirits is often the first point of contact here for DarkZero. That's just in the nature of the way that he's playing. But more often than not, he's trying to do it on his own, and there's no one really there to support him. Doesn't get anything from that. And you've lost your Warden. And especially when there's a blitz on the board, okay, it's a blitz with 10 HP, it's still not ideal. Further weakens that sight hold. And the roam hold, dependent on where you were wanting to play that Warden. In 8th position now, not impossible, but it's very difficult. He's not going to be able to keep his mirror window safe, that's for sure. And that will be getting opened very shortly. Nade sent through just to ensure that no one was able to do any funny business with that Selma. And with the Otsu shield behind it, nice platform that SR can start to base and attack from here. Nate can play some Kiba barricades out there and give himself a bit more of a fortress to play around. With Rexon's drone running through the site pretty much for free, you can only imagine that a plant isn't too far away.
Especially when you look at the defense's secondary utility, we got no explosives remaining. 4 impacts, all have been used. C4 also been used. No toxic canisters, no nothing. Rexon gets a kill. Canadian hops directly in front of the window, but NJR, well, not only finds one, that honestly, NJR, I think, just kind of getting lucky with that positioning right there. Might not end up mattering, though. That's the more important kill. Rival shuts down Rexon from up above. Diffuser now drops cold. Only 20 seconds remaining, but Rival holding this position might just be enough. NJR attempting the retreat will put the newbie in a 1 versus 3. No recovery of the diffuser just yet. Only 10 seconds remaining. As Surf picks it back up, Rival's got a line on him, but his opportunity slips by. 2 guns to cover this plant. 2 guns to keep Rival out of the sight, to shepherd Surf into the post, and it's not even needed. Spoit keeps a lid on things and ties the game early.
I don't think anyone would have pulled that one off Rival. I don't think you need to feel too bad about that one. NJR, what a rotate that was. What an attempt. I loved the play. Pop the Vulcan pack and then just run. Certainly did plenty of distraction work as well. Forced Spoit at least out of the fight for a while to try and control him and find him out eventually. Not sure if we're going to see that kill. Oh, blooming Spoit. That's unreal. It just goes from, I mean, I guess he'd already opened up the angle and was sort of ready for it, but he's got the ping on the guy outside, so I guess it's not that crazy, but it was still super quick.
I think Nace lost half his HP to a destructive ingredient.
10 seconds remaining. Bomb located by attackers.
You got to be careful with those ingredients.
5 seconds
Listen,
to insertion.
you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. Stuff like that happens.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
You get a particularly rowdy carrot.
But you replaced it with rage, Azami.
What does a rowdy carrot look like? Or sound like, I suppose.
I think,
or taste.
you know when you get a carrot, you know when you go to the
things.
store and they've got like, they have the wonky veg and it's a little bit cheaper than the like perfectly straight veg?
No, I'm sorry. You can't. You can't. That might be the most British thing I've heard. You know when you go to the store, you've got wonky veg. Shut up, man.
You don't have that?
No, I've got wonky veg. We just don't call it wonky veg. Like we're some kind of kid-friendly alternative band from the 90s.
That's what it's called.
Wonky veg. Shut up. Canadian going down yellow stairs early, I think. No, he's outside. Never mind. My bad. Oh, that one's rough. Either potentially a camera or something on Rexon. Maybe just luck, but I believe that was, what, all 3 boogie drones in pocket Ollie?
I don't think, well, I certainly didn't hear one. And usually you do, so.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a weird engagement that's going on as well. Rival's kind of pinned right now.
Oh,
You can't just stand still. Like, no matter who's on the Monty, if someone's looking at you on the Monty, I don't think you can just sort of stay there and hope to play.
Have you covered?
Ends up being a bit of an odd trade. Especially now when Shopify Rebellion, who favored the minimal take last time, have the direct line in here. Ooh, Canadian just barely dodging that one. Turns the shield in time, and none of the shots from the 9x19 connect.
Reloading. Cover me.
Lacking the vert is going to be a big problem here, though. You want to go for this direct, but you don't have an additional player or angles to pressure the defenders from up above. That means a lot's going to come down to what space Canadian can clear on this Monty and what kills the players around him can get. Well, all right, Ambi decides to leave it all on the gunfights as he has 3 kills so far, a net of 2. And it seems that the Monty was entirely unnecessary for Shopify Rebellion's push. As Ambi runs in, gets every single fight. Nafe now looking for his 3rd and 4th if he can land this 1v3. It'll have to be a counter defuse at the end of it. 2 kills will not be sufficient. Ambi has knowledge of the Mira's position. Nafe will keep lurking around, fire some shots through the rotate, and land back on the diffuser. It's a long rotate from Spoit, who gets an angle from up above. Nafe, aware of it, will fall off. Needs to take one of these engagements. He'll commit to the one against Ambi. He himself pulling back. No, swinging around the corner. Clearly feeling confident again after 3 kills. 4 if you include doming his IGL in the back of the head. That is the kind of confidence we want from our young fraggers.
It was kind of poetic, Ambi shooting Canadian there. Because it was almost like, we don't need the old school, like, let's just run them down on the Monty. We're going to do this the new school way. We're just going to get the kills. How about that? How about that for an idea from a young whippersnapper? At least he redeemed himself. And as such, the Monty has been banned, so Canadian, at least whilst playing that up, can be rest assured he won't die on the Monty again to his own team this round, although the same can't be said if he chooses to play the Blitz. Azami taken away as well, as we will be going back upstairs. Bit of a strange round this, for the way that it started. Obviously, it was a great C4 and an opening pick that wasn't converted in a game where opening picks have not been coming easily to this DarkZero side. They struggled for them on border, only managing 2, and only managing to convert 1 of those rounds. So far, they've done a little bit better here, but still the scoreline isn't fully reflecting of that. Something I'm a little bit surprised at, Lynx, especially with how much we've spoken about it in the past, is the lack of a Tachanka so far.
10 seconds to
When I
go.
was looking through both of these 2 teams' previous records on this map, and the operators that are likely banned against them, Tachanka comes up multiple times.
Attackers are moving out to
Not
locate
only
a
have we
bomb
not seen it banned, but we've also not seen it played. And for the amount of area denial that can provide, and the amount of sheer time waste and stall, it's kind of shocking that we've not been able to squeeze it into either of these lineups, especially here in round 4, when you look down and you think, okay, if we were going to put a Tachanka in, who could we do without? Who could we take? I don't know, maybe the Vigil.
Especially NJR on the Vigil, the Tachanka main himself. It is also funny, going back to your point about, Shopify kind of innovating on this map. Back when Lair first came out, Shopify Rebellion were a bit of the progenitors of the use of Tachanka on that top floor. So, to your point, for everybody involved, it is kind of odd we don't have that. Then again, kind of going back to our point of teams just kind of expecting things, whether it's likely they're broad or not. The Teller's Rush, you kind of are ready for that. And I think Tachanka on this top floor, whether it's Shopify Rebellion on the attack or DarkZero on the attack, it's something, given your opponent, that you're just going to be thinking about.
Picking up shield.
And so I think maybe DarkZero at the moment deciding to try and catch them off guard in a little bit of a different way. Keeping the clash consistent is very nice. Shopify Rebellion decide not to ban the clash. And I think getting rid of the Azami is entirely fine. It just means you will have to deal with his shield in some way, shape, or form. Canadian bringing in the Capitao bolts could be useful for that. Also,
The big
that death
difference
mark
here so far is, as you say, it's the death mark. It's the fact that Ambi hasn't died yet. Ambi got taken out really early by Spirits in round 1, and that was a big reason as to why the round sort of crumbled a little bit for Shopify, because that third dimension, that vertical aspect, it was always lacking. And this time there's so much more pressure coming onto this angle. We've got Canadian and Ambi both at the bottom of these stairs, and they're both vying for control of Rocket right now, and already DZ are looking a little bit bunched up here.
Bunched up, but still solid. Ooh, especially solid. NGR feeling confident on that angle. Spoit's put down his ROU projectors, but can't add any more and can't drop or raise those light screens at will. Rocket's actually proven harder to take, ironically, given Ambi's presence. Swings around to get that kill. They will get that trade, but Canadian found a gap before, and DarkZero paying much more attention to the Rocket stairs than they did previously. The clash still being up is going to be a massive thorn in Shopify Rebellion's side, and it seems that if any site's going to be successful for DarkZero, it seems like the second one will be won a second time. 2 kills with the Boss G so far. Good use of that EMP, but the greater issue is that shield leading Shopify Rebellion into Rivals M59. Surf with a lot to do and little success. R6 room goes the way of DarkZero twice. We are at a tie game once again.
Rival the rookie. They're ready to swing and just bait his teammate a little bit. Nath on the clash, soaking up all the pressure and attention. And Rival can just work off the back of those comms. Brilliant swing there. 2 pumps with the shotgun, 2 kills. And hey, what do I know? Who needs a Tachanka when NJR is going to play Vigil, by the way, on the desk? Typically a position played by Azami or nobody. And pick himself 2 kills. Couldn't survive there on the Azami with all the Keeper barricades in the world, but somehow lives there on the Vigil and gets 2 with the Boss G. You just can't make sense of it, can you?
It's entertaining. That's all the sense I need. It's fun to watch. Is it wonky? Perhaps, but I'm fine with it. All right. Rexon's just left. Left his shoes, too? Poor guy. Rest in peace.
It was like the end of the film. It was like fade to black.
Why did we fade out on
Where we like faded to black and Surf's cam just wasn't there. I was like, is this a movie?
No, Spoit, no! Oh, they got him too.
Sorry, everyone, Spoit's gone.
Oh, we keep fading back to Surf, whose camera is black. That's why.
Right.
You know, technically speaking, we're not fading to black. We're fading to Surf, and his camera happens to be dark. It's an
I felt like it was a spot the difference with Rexon's room. Like, what's changed?
It would have been really funny if Rexon were there. We fade to black, go to Spoit, and then we're just experimenting with the stream deck transitions now.
Someone's found the transition menu.
Give us another one.
Can we do the spiral one? There must be a spiral one, like a spiral wipe or something like that.
Can we get a spiral? Love that.
Okay, we get like the expand, yeah.
Can we get like a spiral back to Rexon's room?
Or a zoom in on Kenny eating that bar, either way.
That was not a spiral, but it does go back to Rexon's room, so I'll take it.
That was like the door open one.
You guys are not going to get any commentary out of me right now. This is tickling my brain.
I feel like we've been baited on the spiral. Like, surely there's one.
There's got to be a spiral in there, right? Or maybe some like.
But they work like the clock, you know?
Do you remember the transitions they'd have on like Microsoft PowerPoint, where it's like, it's like it breaks all into like squares and then it rotates around and then it reassembles into the new slide. Dude, in 5th grade,
it could it would like disappear and fragment into loads of squares.
Yeah, dude, in 5th grade, we'd be having competitions about like who could just have the coolest transitions in their PowerPoint. You'd be throwing those in there for no reason. You'd be presenting about like I don't know, the Peloponnesian War or something. Or like
the Peloponnesian War.
Yeah, that was a thing I learned about in I think 6th grade. I mean, don't get me wrong, we weren't reading like Thucydides, but like we generally learned it happened. Can we just cancel the game and keep watching the transitions? That was like... I was
we're
doing
back.
something. Oh, we're back. Boo.
Thanks for bearing with us. I imagine that we have got everything up and ready and sorted. Not entirely sure what it was, but it was definitely a tech. It was not a tack. So, 2-2. Back to the mid-floor site we go. Previously,
10 seconds remaining.
we threw a little bit of a question as to Spirits playing the Warden a bit too aggressive,
5 seconds
especially when there's a blitz knocking around. Okay, you're on the Warden, so you can at least not get flashed, but it doesn't stop the gun behind it being any less potent when you've got a lot of things to deal with. This time, at least, Spirits isn't going to be playing on that Warden. And it looks like, overall, DZ are going for something just a little bit different. Bringing the Echo this time. Nate's going to be playing that. Maybe trying to gain a little bit more information on those periphery edges of the site. And of course, with it being that mid-floor, there is a requirement to hold on to that top floor. And a lot of the attacks kind of live and die on how successful they are in taking that control.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is a different middle floor site from what they defended previously. Armory and weapons the first time. Bunks briefing now. And initially, when we saw that first floor back in round 2, I just kind of assumed it was bunks and briefing because of how common it seems that that site is the third one gone to. So I'm kind of surprised that this is the first time that we're seeing it. But as you pointed out, and as we often see, minimum 3 people up here. Absolute minimum, if not 4. I see a lot of teams run 4 defenders up here and 1 poor sap stuck inside of the site with the world staring him down. And I think, honestly, my big concern is I don't see a lot of utility that can really break this open. Like, sure, the blitz, but that's kind of it for Shopify Rebellion right now. And while you're not going to have the RU projectors, that's for certain.
Nice little C4 there. Oh,
Goodness
I want to
me.
back it up there onto Ambi. Get another Citizen, just keep
Wow.
going. Why stop now? Rival to find the last. A blink and you miss it round there from DarkZero. We didn't really see the full intention there of what SR wanted to do. They just got picked apart on the entry. For a team that's been struggling on entries, I'd class that as them getting 5 entries in 1 round.
With how quick that went? Absolutely. That site continues to be a tough nut to crack. DarkZero will be thankful for it. As they want to see that C4. And sure, Citizen got these kills. We give him a lot of credit for that, but the defense of DarkZero really was very strong there. Everyone playing off each other, all just arms reach away, can immediately swing around and trade. 'Cause ultimately, that's what happened, right? Shopify Rebellion attackers were attacking a different position, and Citizen was in a spot to counter swing and at a different angle. Just a good setup from DarkZero. Got to give them credit for that. They'll go back down to the basement now, where this was, you put it well, a very weird round. As the Ram goes down early, and then Shopify Rebellion try to barrel through the side with a Monty, and then the Monty gets shot in the back of the head by Ambi, but they win the round on kills anyway, them being Shopify Rebellion. No Monty present this time, obviously, because he's been banned, and Canadian decides not to bring a shield whatsoever. Seems like it's just going to be a full dedication to the full clear. I could have found a better way of saying that. You know what I mean?
No Fenrir this time either. Rival didn't have too much impact on the Fenrir, given that he just got sort of locked in and pinned down by Monty early on and then very handily dealt with. But changes for sure on both sides of the coin. You're really going to be looking for Rexon to get a bit more value and to not have to rely so much on Ambi's gun skill to get the job done. The early portion of the round is going to consist of a little bit of droning, and Spoit inside of this warehouse just can throw a couple of those Selmas out there. Wants to get those Selmas spent as soon as possible, and that'll really unleash him to just have fun with that AK-12 and to do what he does best, and that is, of course, click heads. 5 and 3 in this fixture. Starting to streak away from the rest of his team, and that's a position that you really want him to be in as SR. It's very much team performance over on border. They're welcome as well. If you can have a big pop-off from one player, then why not be a Spoit? Good info, they're found on the Brava drone, but there's not much you can do about a Vulcan pack as the Brava. So that's going to be something that needs to be dealt with and puts into even more importance the need to get that vertical control. Speaking of the vert, Rexon, first blooded again.
Really quite unfortunate 2 times in a row. And now lacking that Monty is really going to cause issues because at least temporarily you had that shield to move in through the bottom floor last time. Now you just don't. You don't even have breach charges with Spoit. You've got very minimal vertical destruction. Thank God you have that Vendetta. Down the Dokkaebi as well. Spirit's just lurking up top. He can play his life here. He's got no utility that'll die with him. Waste even more time that's already been taken away from Shopify Rebellion. Spoit taking a 1v1 against the Melusi. Finally, they get this kill. But Nafe is still up top too? I was going to say, maybe you just fall back once that Deathmark tracker goes out. Yes, they will.
Reload.
Seems that DarkZero right on the precipice of a 4-2 half. Similar to Border in that Shopify Rebellion were really starting to gain momentum, and then we come back from that tech pause, and it is DarkZero all day of the week. Strong Bunks briefing defense, a pretty good R6 room defense before that. And off the back of this failed roam clear from Shopify Rebellion, one of which, by the way, they still have 5 drones remaining. And still they got caught off guard by engagements and caught off guard by players. Very big performance and very big 3 rounds from DarkZero, making a statement as we move into the side swap.
It's a great position to be in for DarkZero. Lair, as we've spoken about, it's been a fortress for Shopify Rebellion for a very long time. They have a fantastic record on the map and one of the better attacking win percentages on Lair as well. However, you throw that into this fixture and numbers mean nothing. They're going to have an absolute doozy on the defense here, which by all means is possible. Attack hasn't been the strongest point for DZ on Lair, sitting around 47%. An attack overall, really, for DZ, not being at the strongest side. We did see them struggle with that a little bit over on Border, only managing those first 2 attacking rounds. So we need certainly a lot more. I don't even want to ask for more structure links. I just want to ask for a little bit more creativity and a little bit more looseness, because the set pieces, when they work, yes, it's fantastic. Round 2 Border, the set piece was fantastic. But when it's known and telegraphed and it's easily countered, you need to have that level of flexibility. You need a little bit more flair in the play style and allow players to just be a little bit freer.
I'm in complete agreement. It's the biggest phenomenon to take away from DarkZero's attacking side. I mean, 5 rounds in a row, basically, of set plays. You want to see more of that creativity here. Even if you're going to bring like a Shield or a Ying, you know, you don't have to do that. I think Shopify Rebellion are a good example of a team that brings shields constantly when they can, but aren't always rushing, aren't always going for those quick, fast executes, or taking their time, droning, coming up with new ideas during the round, or even smaller ideas at the beginning. You don't have to consign yourself to that. So Spirit's bringing the Monty here. I have to imagine picking that operator over the Blitz or the Blackbeard, the latter of which he was on for the most of that pick phase. Hopefully this is a sign of a bit more slower of an attack, a bit more methodical of an attack. They'll have obstacles to run into. You got the bandit batteries, for example. You got that Tachanka that we highlighted, the absence of him throughout those first 6 rounds. If you actually go for that plan, there are plenty of issues you'll have to deal with. But they don't have to go for a plan. They don't have to, basically, they don't have to resign themselves to anything right now. I just want to see them take the information as it goes and play a bit more fluid throughout the round.
I mean, it is DarkZero we're talking about. There's a very good chance they're going to go for the plan. I think the Tachanka is a must pick here for Shopify. And I'm glad that there's not something that I don't know as to why Tachanka is now rubbish on this site, because if Shopify hadn't played it either, I'd have been DMing people and asking what's going on. But the fact that it surfs on it, I'm like, yep, balance has been restored. It is still good. We just now need to see it work. Rival going for a little bit more of an old school way of approaching the verts here, using the good old fashioned book, as the Deimos has been removed. So you can't deathmark someone and use the Vendetta through the floor. Instead, you're just gonna have to do the skeleton key way and sort of hit and hope, go off the back of a bit of drone work. It takes a bit more time, certainly takes a little bit more resource, but it is more than capable of still getting that job done. And they have been able to remove a couple of those players around. Spirits baiting out a couple of those toxic babe casters. Canadians only got 1 left, but when you bring the Tachanka, That's one of the benefits. You can be a little bit looser and you can be a little bit more frivolous with those toxic babe canisters because you know that you've got the Tachanka to back that up.
It also just frees up resources. It allows Canadian to play here in the first place. Before, if you recall, DarkZero Rival was kind of stuck, waiting at that pre-made line, waiting for the plant to come in from ops. But now Canadian actually can play here. And then, as you said, the Shumika canisters can back him up as well. NGR triggering that Banshee will indicate somebody's in bathroom. Some sound made on top rocket as well, but the first kill goes DarkZero's way, despite that bevy of information for Shopify Rebellion to play off of. Next kill ties things up. And the status quo utility favors the defense. 15 Shumikas, still control of New Bridge. Never mind, Spirits deals with that player very quickly. But this fire is still going to be an issue. They can't walk through the breach. They've got to walk through this door. So as they creep forward, all the kills are going their way instead. Surf's got to fall off, put the canister in pocket, and do double duty watching all of these angles. Only 5 seconds remaining. He's got one, the other comes around! An unbelievable clutch from Surf. I don't even know how that happened.
Surf picks clutches up like nobody I have ever seen before. And it just looks like nothing when he's doing it. He isn't the flashiest player in the world. He's not one that's hitting insane shots or consistently getting multi-kills. But in the clutch, he is unflappable. And proves it again here against DarkZero. Well, what are we at? Round number 7, just after the side swap. Nate had no choice. I mean, DZ have played it really poorly, to be honest with you. You know, you don't necessarily need to push Surf in that position. Just set yourself up a little crossfire, and you're going to be fine. But I think it comes down to that situation that we found ourselves in on Border, where you look at the last couple of players alive, and it's rival NGR and Nathan, all of them die inside of 13 seconds. It's not where you want to be finding yourself consistently as DarkZero, as a team that's known for getting the plant down, as a team that's known for controlling those post plants. It's not that they haven't got the time to do it. They've started to kind of go and chase the kills a little bit. And you do just wonder, are you better off backing off in that position, having rival hold, having Nate get the plant, and try and force it back onto Surf instead of putting him in a winnable position?
I'm also a bit nervous with the Amaru coming back in the lineup. Talked before about how DarkZero were very reliant on kind of pre-made rush strats. We've got a Ying and Amaru right here. I'm a little nervous. We'll see if it works out. And as you said, when they work out, boy, is it exciting. And here we go, into the mid floor, and he dies immediately. Only one Candela used, but maybe that's bad timing, maybe it's bad luck, but how many times this series have we seen an Amaru or a Blitz run in through a doorway or a window and then immediately die because whether by chance or by planning, the Rebellion were ready for it.
It's one of those things. You see it often enough, you're going to see it go bad. But it has been consistently bad today. No one's had any luck whatsoever. And yeah, you can't always drone it because, you know, you need it's the time, it's the drone, it's getting someone in position to do it, it's the speed of things. When it's consistently not working, you maybe just hang it up and say, maybe today's not the day. Maybe we just play a little bit differently. Oh dear.
What? Now what's happened there?
Spirits was sprinting into Spoit's lap there, trying to get away from the C4, to be fair to him. It wasn't mindless. Oh, almost a blunder there from Rival. Spoit nearly getting away, but will be taken out. I don't know if it's going to have anything to say really on the end result of this round, given the sheer advantage that Shopify have right now. 4 versus 2. Dokkaebi in a sledge. Okay, you can make the vert. You got a Dokkaebi call. You got a flash. You're going up against quite a bit. There's still Vulcan packs kicking around. Not only that, there's still 3 toxic babe canisters in Canadian's pocket. And with 40 seconds left on the clock, he can pretty much deny the rest of the round right here.
Reloading. Cover me.
Not only that, you just got 4 guns kicking around basement. You got a whole host of different angles you can look at or watch. You're not long on places to walk through or crouch through when you're attacking this site. Dropping down the hatch is going to be difficult as well. Shopify Rebellion are clearly ready for it. Both remaining attackers drop straight into it. And at least DarkZero treat us to an expeditious end. 2 rounds in a row for Shopify Rebellion. This one much more dominant than the prior. But it ties the game. Neither team able to keep a lead for very long. But on these defenses, it is DarkZero slowly starting to lose that momentum. As again, they fly in through a window, die immediately, and then the recovery afterwards is haphazard, is a kind way to describe it.
It's been a really strange series when you look at it, and you know we're nowhere near over just yet. SR successful in their first 2 defensive rounds. Opening pick is something that I kind of want to highlight a little bit here because on Border, the opening pick went to SR all but 2 rounds. So 8 out of 10. Here on Lair, we've played 8 rounds, and the opening pick has gone to DZ all but 2 rounds. It's total switcheroo, total swapping around. It's almost as if during the map 1 and 2, the call was, okay, we're going to focus a little bit more on our opening engagement. We're really poor at it. Let's be better at it. And they put a lot of effort into being better at it. And the end result is now that, well, we're not really any better off overall. And we're actually on the more difficult side of things now because we need to find a couple of rounds here on the attack. We need to at least match DarkZero's 2 if we want to try and take this game anywhere further. Because this is a must-win map right now for DarkZero.
Must-win map not only to stay alive in the NAL regional finals and have a chance at that SI qualification by getting the first place trophy, making the lower bracket run, qualifying to Paris, but the other side is if they go out here, the points are gone. You're not qualifying by that. Two entire pathways to SI qualification will be closed off by losing this game through the regional finals and through the points. If you don't win this map and then win BenQ right after this. I suppose DarkZero will get a little bit more time to contemplate that as SR all disconnect immediately after we get back from the TAC timeout. But the stakes quite high for DarkZero at the moment because you go from 3 chances, or at least 3 on paper chances, to 1. If you lose Lair right here.
Out of the TAC straight into a tech. Unfortunately, we've been plagued, it seems, today with techs. We're usually pretty lucky here on the NAL, but there's been
wonky
2 in 1 game. It's been a wonky tech kicking around, isn't there? We need to pay a little bit more for the premium tech, I guess.
The organic tech.
Yeah, no GMO, no fertilizer, all that sort of stuff. I think instead of flapping our gums for another tech, let's go to a break, Links, and we'll be back right with the action as soon as it happens. For DarkZero, if they want to stay in the regional finals for NAL this stage and keep themselves in contention for a spot at SI based on points and global standings alone. If not, it'll be down to the LCQs with them. Same for Shopify, but of course they have that 1 map buffer, given that they got a nice 7-3 result on our first map of this series over on Border. But Lair is proving to be a little bit trickier for either one of these teams to gain a full advantage with. DarkZero are now on the attack. They've already attacked for 2 rounds. However, we have yet to see them strike on this attacking phase. And this is going to be the question. Are they able to break that curse and pick up a round on the attack here? Because if not, the game will go to Shopify.
A game will go to Shopify. They'll keep their chances at qualifying to SI via a victory in the regional league alive. Keep their chances just qualifying at points alive. A lot riding on this matchup for both teams. And one on the series, Shopify Rebellion want to convert that advantage. They'll begin with at least a bit of the latter. We'll see if the former comes later. To take down the buck pretty quickly. NJR getting shocked by the clash. Oh, what a counter to this shield. Nothing for NJR to do. Stuck in, well, what is essentially a hallway with nowhere to move left or right out away from the electricity. Shield knocked back. Easy pickings for the defense. In 5v3 to start. Many an attacking team, Ollie, have tried to break through this fortress on the top floor, and DarkZero in round 9 can count themselves among the many teams, the many good teams who have failed.
Yeah, and it's another failure due to, you know, a little bit of a quick play not working out. It seems to have been the order of the day here for both of these two teams, and their attacking failures or attacking shortcomings has largely been down to poor or lack of information. Nath may be able to try and make something happen here as he too is going to drone on in and see if there's anything that they can find. They're waiting for that Zoto canister to dissipate right now. A little bit of juggling of the diffuser. Nath has now taken that up as, oh sorry, Citizen's taking it up, sorry, as Nath is going to go for a bit of a rotate. Does still have a Selma, so could try and open up a line of sight for a bit of a backstab here. I think there's a player that's going to be lurking around those stairs that needs to be dealt with. It's no good forcing the sight if there's still roamers and lurkers out there that are just ready to retake at a moment's notice.
That won't do at all. Dave could cut off Ambi on this walk down green stairs. Cognizant of the strength of this top floor hold, Ambi will move back up, fire some shots in turn, but no need to give that engagement up. You've got the winning strategy, you've got the formula solidified on the top floor. Spoit will drop down on that clash. The name of the game is wasting time. Even if Spoit dies, there's still at least 3 to 4 people up top who can take advantage of those angles. Ambi finally decides to go push. It's ill-advised. The round's been won long ago. 3 rounds in a row for Shopify Rebellion at the moment. A long break between the first 2 and the third, but more of the same as Bunks in briefing is a breeze.
And that's 3 rounds here on the defense for Shopify, so why can't they just go through and do it all over again? Nothing really to say that they can't right now. And the struggles for DarkZero continue on this attack. Struggling to find that answer. Will it be found here in the last ban of the game? Clash and a Monty. Shield for shield. Both taken out. The Clash, it's only been played on that Bunks and briefing round. Of course, you do sometimes get occasions where teams won't play something, and then as soon as the final round of bans comes in, all of a sudden that's their favorite and they're going to play it, and they were just trying to bait you into forgetting that they ever were going to play it. So maybe it could be a little bit of that at play here, but it hasn't been a mainstay. Only in that last round with Spoit on it, of all people, by the way. I mean, he has just done a few people pretty dirty with it as well, to be fair. Hitting him with the old 360 shield on the back, Ninja Turtle move. We love that.
I'm a big fan of it. There was a sign of life for DarkZero towards the end of their defensive half. Feels a bit long ago, but our 6 room, Bunks, briefing, and the basement, they looked really good on. They only lost 4 people in 3 rounds to end their defensive half, and it seemed like we had something. With a 4-2, 2-round lead, sure the attacks have been problematic, but they got momentum. They got something. Maybe the next half will offer something different. And so far, that has not been the case. Our 6 room required a 1v3, sure. The other 2 rounds, Shopify Rebellion only dropped 1 body in basement, 1 body on Bunks. It's been an easy game for them, aside from that initial attempt on our 6 room. They'll go back to it now. We'll see if DarkZero can give them a run for their money, but as it currently stands, Shopify Rebellion have enough to win this in regulation if we just retread the ground already trodden. We've yet to see them shift from their woes on the attack compared to Border. A lot of these same kind of preset plays. They haven't, I suppose, committed to one yet, but with the Blackbeard, I'm nervous. Is this just going to be another quick one? A run up New Bridge, perhaps?
If the information's good, then there's no reason to not do it. But the information up until this point hasn't been the best. The way that Citizen's playing, you would like to believe that New Bridge is fairly clear. Or at least droned at this point, because he's quite vulnerable in that spot that he's at right now. There are plenty of drones out there. Not all of them in the best position, granted, but Rival can start to shift his around a little bit as he's going to start performing some of this vertical work. Difficult job to put the rookie on, with all things considered. Is he actually just going to go for a walk-up rocket stairs? Able to take out the FNAT. You'd like to see him do a little bit more skeleton key work, but maybe just waiting for a bit more information before he starts committing and letting his presence known. Canadian again spending those Toxic Babe canisters early, but the full knowledge that you've got Surf and 16 Shimikas ready and waiting to be sent over the course of this next minute and 10. DZ slowly creeping toward it. Really isn't a round that's happening too quickly. And those Shimikas are going to make things extremely difficult. You might have the vert control, but you're going to need to displace that Tachanka. Is Spirit's going to be able to find it?
Oh no, he won't find it whatsoever. Spoit instead creeping up deep into the site beyond where even the Shumikas can get a line on. While the fire is bouncing around the corner, we got two players running around. Spoit's able to find both. Put diffuser at the breach. Rival on the opposite side revealed because of the Banshee. Spirits, who was intended to deal with this Tachanka, doesn't find his mark, but the damage was dealt by a player he could have never hoped to counter. The rest of Shopify trained their guns, are ready for the walk-up from all these remaining DarkZero players. And 6-4 is just 1 HP away for Shopify Rebellion. Can hold inside of the site and move up to 6-4. 4 defenses in a row without looking like they're going to stop anytime soon.
With a 67% win rate on this map on the defense, it's not too much of a surprise that Shopify are doing this well right now. But for DarkZero's point of view, they're just so close every single time. Spirits narrowly missing out on the chance at taking Surf out on the Tachanka. Had that happened, the plan was set up beautifully. There wasn't really much that was going to stop Nath from getting that diffuser down. But I feel like Spirits is being given so much to do on his own there. You can't expect him to be able to walk in and, you know, not only find the kill onto Surf, but deal with whoever else is there. Because that's a bit of a safety point inside of the site for the defenders, because there's so many little right angles, little 90 degrees that you can tuck behind. It's a good position for the defense to sort of hold and to kind of rally behind. It's a great spot to throw the utility from. So there's going to be more than just one body there. I think a lot's being asked of Spirits to try and do that all pretty much solo. I get that there's a lot of work that needs to go into getting that plant down. But really, Spirits just needed a bit of a helping hand there, it felt. Especially now, Shopify match and series points here on Lair. Are they going to increase that win rate to 9-2 links? That would be very impressive.
It seems like they'll be able to do it. They've got the pieces so far. They're just playing very well off each other on this site. The only time they faltered was in our 6 room, but 8, 9, and 10, it's just been a series of defenders all coordinating well, reacting to the situation in front of them. And not even necessarily keeping one step ahead of DarkZero, but just not letting any of the moves or the flashy things DarkZero throw at them catch them off guard. It's been a very impressive showing for Shopify Rebellion, and a team where it seems they've been very reliant on individual plays. I think we can all agree Surf has had a really good day, but I don't think Surf has been necessary for them to win. This has felt like a lot more of a team performance, a well-coordinated game, and given the worries we've had of Shopify Rebellion up to this point, it is a really excellent thing to see. And even here, sure, this is an individual moment, Spoit getting that kill, but he's got utility and a setup behind him, Ollie. They're investing in their individuals, but not relying on them entirely.
They're just setting each other up to succeed, aren't they? Look at Rexon after the break. 5 kills. A really big day. SR can start to make that retreat back down to site now. Minute and 25. Toxic Babe is being used upstairs just to slow DZ down. No, never a bad strategy, especially a team that's as slow as DZ, or as slow as DZ can be. Losing out the Ying. They've lost a lot of that beachhead. They could still try and mount something off the back of the Sense and the Capitao. But it feels like they're going to be lacking in vertical. There's only so much that Rival's going to be able to do with that sledge. Nath maybe going to try and find a little bit of an alternate line here just outside of courtyard. But everyone's already tucked. Everyone's found the positions that they're willing to play for the rest of the round. Canadian can die here, and it isn't going to matter too much. As long as he spends that Toxic Babe, which he's done, he can try and sit here and waste a little bit of time. Does he play aggro off the back of the nade? No, just gets caught out. Does take Rival down on the Toxic Babe, though, so at least he trades himself, but that was a bit unusual.
A bit strange, but still bleeding DarkZero when they're already limping to the finish line. And the odds of finishing this race getting lower, but there we go. Long angle through the hatch. Doesn't kill Surf, but downs him. Takes him out of the fight for all intents and purposes. He will not be a major factor, even on low HP. They should be able to deal with him. And yet they gain no initiative off of it. They work themselves down, but Surf gets picked back up. All the angles are still there. Rexon walks in front of the light screen, and while he doesn't catch the player crossing, oh no! C4 in hand as the player vaults over. DarkZero get all the kills. What is this? A 1v3 that Ambi's got to figure out? Drops down, and DarkZero snatch a miracle from the jaws of defeat, and I've got one more round still in them.
DarkZero hold on for bitter life right there. Round 11, they are not out just yet. Despite an opening pick coming in from Spoit, despite a really scrappy round, and one where you could kind of see the clear win condition there for SR. Let them play into this. They were happy enough to hold out on that roam for a little bit longer. I'm looking at you there, Canadian. I feel like he just needed to commit to a play a little bit earlier there than just sort of waiting. I think he was waiting to be pushed off the back of the nade, but DZ played it well. They didn't push in off the back of the nade. They let the nade do the work. It wasn't that in its entirety that won the round for DZ, but it was certainly a small step. And Canadian was dead there regardless. It was mainly the flood of kills that came in on the site. And DZ showing for the first time in what feels like a long time, Lynx, that they can actually work in that high pressure environment in those final 10 to 15 seconds at picking up those kills and getting the job done. Because up until this point, we haven't really seen that from them. We've seen them attempt it, but we haven't seen it be successful.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
And it might come late, but it's an excellent thing to see. It's only got to work one more time, and then we get a renewed chance in overtime.
Home improvement time.
Just put those pieces together once more, and we'll have a competitive series once again. It seemed that Lair was ordained to go Shopify Rebellion's way, just given the trend of those, especially, well, the 4 rounds, of course, but everything after round 7, really great stuff from Shopify Rebellion. And now here, DarkZero has something to offer. Get in quick with this vert, by the way. Feels like we've seen this vertical player have minimal to no impact, especially if they're Ram. But at least Rival gets in. One Boogie Drone might be destroyed, but can create this whole line by adding a second. No roam like we saw last time. We saw a much more aggressive stance taken by the Rebellion. Not so here, at least not on this portion of the map. If they're there, they're not nearly as in their face as they were before, and yet they're still finding that same early round success. No, actually, same mirror window. Shopify Rebellion not scared whatsoever.
It's a big shame for DZ that they lose Ace there. And it's unfortunate, especially given the fact that we've actually seen some really successful vert be made this round. DZ have switched off the sledge. They've now chosen the Ram. Ram is superior at making vert. You're not at risk of the C4 as much. You can make cleaner lines and be in your gun at the same time. And already getting in there and dealing with a couple of those Goyo canisters, that's bought back a little bit of time for later on. But then the losing of Ace, have you just kind of given all that back up? Because if there's anything that you needed to open now, you're really going to struggle to do it. You've got no tools in your pockets to get that job done. It's going to have to come down to kills again. And given that we've only seen that happen successfully once so far for DarkZero, you feel like it's asking quite a lot. That and the fact that there's a man count advantage and a pretty hefty utility advantage right now for SR. Canadian going to send out his last Toxic Babe canister. It's going to keep him at least in the fight for the last 45 seconds, even if they're not able to deny any serious area. Ambi with the C4 in pocket as well. Bit of a stalemate now, as you can almost feel the pressure and the tension on this round starting to build. DZ really putting themselves under it, knowing that they have to get these kills. Again, they have to try and push through, whether it's by getting the plant down or getting the kills.
Well, the C4 doesn't net anything. It's Ambi's gun that does the talking. Blackbeard losing against those 2 defenders swarming on his position. Citizen next on the chopping block. It's knives out for Shopify Rebellion at the moment, keeping control of their site. flailing their arms back and forth, and everybody gets bloody. The Shopify Rebellion standing on top of the scrap heap, 2-0. They eliminate DarkZero from the regional finals, but keep themselves alive to be the best team in North America, at least have a chance at it.
It felt like a big ask there from DarkZero to try and repeat the successes in round 11 again inside of round 12, and it was just a step too far. Losing out on Lair, it was Shopify Rebellion's map choice, don't forget. Well, that's no good when you lose your own map choice on border. And I think the problems in this series for DZ ran a lot deeper than the game that we saw on Lair. Shopify will put themselves a little bit further on inside of this bracket. And they are going to be facing up against M80 next.